Finally, let's hear a piece written by another French composer, Maurice Duruflé. The translation of this Latin motet reads, "Where there is charity and love, God is there." Duruflé was fascinated with chant. In this case, Roman Catholic Gregorian chant. As with the Russian Orthodox chant that Rachmaninoff employs, the music moves stepwise with no big leaps, and the rhythm is flexible, guided by word stress, giving the music this flowing feel. Let's talk about the role of dissonance in this piece, written in 1960, and how it differs from the dissonance we hear in the suspension chain of Os Justi, written 100 years earlier. The thing that drives a suspension is its need to resolve. In Ubi Caritas, dissonance and consonance are created as equals and embraced as equally beautiful. Listen to the tenor and bass lines in the opening 4 measures and how they occasionally bump into each other, but because they're heading in the same direction, it's okay, and the dissonance is not needing to be resolved. In the 18th and 19th centuries, it was very clear what was consonant and what was dissonant. Notes had to be a certain distance from each other to be considered consonant or pleasing. In the late 19th and early 20th century, that notion began to change. Certain notes ceased to be as dissonant as they used to be. Let me explain at the piano. Centuries ago, let's say in the 9th century, the only notes that were truly considered consonant were notes of the same letter name. A C would only be consonant with another C, either in the same octave or maybe in another octave. Centuries pass, and now it's not just the C that is consonant with C, but also G, known as the 5th. Now we have root, 5th, and octave. More time passes, and now the 3rd, or E, is consonant. These notes, the root, the 3rd, the 5th, and the octave, in our case, C, E, and G, were consonant. Anything that interfered or got too close to those 3 notes were considered dissonant and needed to be resolved. No doubt, when you hear these 3 notes, you recognize them as a basic building block of music, even if you're not trained in music yourself. For a long time, the triad was the only truly pure consonant music sound. Sometime in the early 20th century, this began to change. Lots of systems were experimented with to replace the triad system, but one of the most successful and natural things to happen was for the triads to be stretched and built upon. Since thirds were now considered consonant, what would happen if we kept adding thirds to our triad? Here we have our root, 3rd, and 5th, the triad. Now we add another 3rd, and we have this. And then this, and this, and so on. We have all these dreamy, soft, jazzy chords, all built on piles of thirds. Now, if you take the upper notes and you put them down in the same octave as our root, 3rd, and 5th, we have notes all next to each other, paradoxically both dissonant and consonant. Or to put it another way, you now have a pleasing dissonance that does not need to be resolved. Duruflé capitalizes on this paradox to harmonize the Gregorian chant he has chosen to set, making Ubi Caritas sound equally ancient through the use of chant and modern through the use of unresolved dissonance. Here now is the Choral Arts Chorus singing Ubi Caritas.
Ubi